Good afternoon, everybody. It's 1:45, so we're going to get started. I'm Dr. Irene Mena, Director of the First Year Engineering Program. And on behalf of all of us here in the First Year Program, welcome to this year's First Year Engineering Conference. This conference allows our students to showcase the work they have been conducting throughout the semester. It is really wonderful to see their work and wonderful to see friends and family here also supporting our students and seeing what they have accomplished. I hope everybody has been enjoying the 2 morning sessions so far. So at this point, we're going to be moving on to our keynote address, and it is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Petra Mitchell, the President and CEO of Catalyst Connection, which is a nonprofit economic development organization dedicated to helping manufacturers with business growth and job creation. Ms. Mitchell holds a BS in Mechanical Engineering from the University of Dayton and an MS from the University of Cincinnati. And among other accomplishments, she is on the board of directors of the Advanced Robotics in Manufacturing Institute, the Pennsylvania Industrial Resource Center Network, and the American Small Manufacturers Coalition. Petra, thank you very much for being with us today, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Irene, is there something on the video? Did you want to show the video or not? I'm fine either way. Looks like it has to be set on your side.
Do you mean your camera? Or?
My camera, yeah. It says you cannot start your video. The host has.
Let's see, Asa or Monica, would you know?
I'm happy to just start without it.
You should be able to start it. Asa, do you know why she wouldn't be able to?
Not sure, but worst case scenario, you can just make her co-host. That should be able to fix it.
I made her a panelist, so she should have the same as you and I have. Hold on one second.
Like I said, I'm fine starting without it. It's up to you guys how you'd like to.
Okay, I just made you the co-host. Let me know if you're still able to do that. Or still not able.
There we go.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me. Congratulations to all of the first year engineering students. I'm sure this has been a very challenging year for all of you, certainly a one-of-a-kind year. But I'd like for you to think that no previous class can say they started their college career during a global pandemic. So it's definitely something you'll be able to share with your grandchildren, and I hope you're all staying healthy. I'd also like to thank Dr. Irene Mena for inviting me to speak to you today. I appreciate the opportunity, not so much to talk about myself, although because she asked me, I will share a few things. But more importantly, I'd like to talk to you about our region, our community, and something that I'm very passionate about, and that's the manufacturing industry in southwestern Pennsylvania. So as I said this afternoon, I plan to share a few things about myself, several things about our region, and I'd like to conclude with some advice that has been shared with me over the years that I hope you'll find useful. And throughout my remarks, I also have a few questions for all of you to consider, so stay tuned for that. I am the president and CEO of Catalyst Connection, a nonprofit economic development organization that is dedicated to serving small and medium-sized manufacturers in southwestern Pennsylvania. So what is a small and medium-sized manufacturer? And what does it mean to be a nonprofit economic development organization? So SMMs are companies that have less than 500 employees per location, and some of which are privately or family-owned businesses. But they can also be plants or divisions of larger companies, such as Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Carpenter Technologies, all of which have facilities in this region. So what does it mean to be a nonprofit economic development organization? It means that we are mission-driven. We believe that as we work with small companies and the companies grow their sales, they create jobs, then those jobs have a very positive impact on everyone in the community. We like to say as manufacturers succeed, everyone in the community has the opportunity to prosper. Being a nonprofit also means that we receive revenues from public sources, such as state and federal governments. Catalyst Connection receives funding from both. We are part of a statewide and national network of sister organizations called the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, or MEP, which is a federally funded program dedicated to serving manufacturers all across the United States. So anywhere in this country that you go, there's an MEP organization supporting manufacturing in their community. And every small manufacturer has access to an MEP. So for those of you that maybe aren't from Southwestern Pennsylvania, I encourage you to check out your local MEP if you're interested in learning about the small and medium-sized manufacturers in your community. And so my first question to all of you to think about is, how many manufacturing establishments are there in this country? And how many of them are SMMs? Okay. Catalyst Connection has been in existence for over 30 years, and I have been its CEO for the last 11 years. My vision is to make sure that the region, the Southwestern Pennsylvania region, is a recognized leader in advanced manufacturing in the world, and that Catalyst Connection will survive and thrive for at least the next 30 years, well beyond my tenure there. My day-to-day job, I have a dual mandate. The first is to help the organization achieve its goals, which includes revenues, serving companies, making sure that the companies we serve have a positive, measurable outcome as a result of the services they receive. And what are those services? We provide business strategy, marketing, and sales. We help with operational improvements such as lean manufacturing and Six Sigma. We help companies with cybersecurity, and we have a large practice around workforce development, including leadership, peer networks, and talent pipeline initiatives. We work with the University of Pittsburgh's CAD School and with the Department of Industrial Engineering, and we help to connect students to local manufacturers for project-based work. Perhaps some of you will be able to participate in some of those projects in the near future. The second part of my job is to make sure that our staff of 28 employees and their families are happy, because happy people go the extra mile for their customers and their organizations. Our business is growing during this pandemic, and we have very little staff turnover. So I think we're doing pretty well. But for me, my passion is for Catalyst Connection to be able to support manufacturing for the long term. So my next question to all of you, what are you passionate about? And what's important to you? What do you value most? I also want to tell you that I am an engineer. I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a master's degree in engineering management. I started my career at GV Aviation, where I was part of a 2-year manufacturing development program that allowed me to have 6-month rotational assignments. And at the same time, I earned my master's degree. After the training program, I took a job in the manufacturing technology laboratory, where I was working on new manufacturing process development and was working with GE suppliers to learn about and adopt those new processes that we were developing. I really enjoyed that assignment. But the late 1990s were a difficult time for the GE company, and there was lots and lots of downsizing. So I decided to move back to Pittsburgh. I started my job search with the local supplier who was a client of Catalyst Connections. And at the time, my experience with GE's supply chain made me a good candidate. And as they say, the rest is history. Now, when you think about being an engineer, I can tell you that I'm not very good at stereotypical things like taking things apart and rebuilding them. And it's great if you are. But when I was younger, my strengths were in math and science, which is what led me to the engineering program of study. And my hobbies were related in sewing and other related crafts. I really enjoyed taking a raw material, using a pattern or standard process, adding my own flair, and ending up with a finished product that I could then share with my friends and family. That's engineering and manufacturing, designing and making. But of course, most of you already know that since you've chosen this field of study. But I would like to ask you some things that may help you with your future career path. What do you like to do in your spare time? What are your hobbies? Are you creative, Good with numbers? Do you like to take things apart and rebuild them? Do you like to travel? Want to be an entrepreneur? All of these are possible with a career as an engineer in manufacturing. Finally, when it comes to a few things about myself, I'd like to share with you that I am an immigrant. I was born in Slovenia, and I moved to Pittsburgh when I was a child due to the established American Slovene community that's here in Pittsburgh and for manufacturing. My dad was a machinist for over 40 years. My parents came here literally with 3 plane tickets, 2 suitcases, and 1 small child, me. Of course, we had some help from family, and my dad did have a very good job. They were able to make a life for us, ultimately sending me to college. And the last thing about my personal story is that I am a mom of 2 daughters, one of whom is a very proud Pitt grad from the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, and the other is an engineer from Case Western in Cleveland, Ohio. So I like to think that I do have a few things in common with some of you. So now I'd like to move on and share with you some things about our community. When I say community, I'm generally thinking about Southwestern Pennsylvania, or sometimes it's referred to as the Greater Pittsburgh region. Manufacturing in this region is our 4th largest industry, and it's the largest traded industry. A traded industry is one where products and services are generally sold outside of the region or community. Manufacturing employs about 90,000 people, has very high average wages, and offers a lot of opportunities for growth and career development. The pandemic was certainly challenging for manufacturers. Some of them had to shut down while they prepared their facilities for social distancing, disinfecting, testing, and contact tracing. At the same time, many of them were in critical pandemic response supply chains and had to continue to meet production demand. While manufacturing hit an employment low last April, we have seen job numbers rising every month since then. And secondly, manufacturers are hiring. Back in 2018, Catalyst Connection conducted an employment demand study, and just over 100 respondents had as many as 2,300 job openings, and they were across all categories, entry level to middle skill to professional positions like engineers. And the key to getting one of those jobs is basic employability skills and basic mechanical aptitude. Yet the biggest challenge manufacturers have is finding the skilled workers to fill these jobs. So if you do nothing else after today, please share with your friends and family, particularly those that might be looking for a career-minded opportunity, even if they don't have post-high school education. There are manufacturing jobs out there for them. Finally, I'd like to share with you that our region is missing some significant opportunities for further growth. This is according to the Brookings Institution, a research and think tank located in Washington, D.C. They completed a study last year where they suggest that our region has the potential to be one of the top innovation cities in the world. And it's primarily due to our world-class research assets, primarily due to the University of Pittsburgh. This area, this region, ranks 9th among the largest 100 cities for the amount of university R&D and is a powerhouse in fields like robotics, healthcare, AI, tissue engineering, and software. Yet despite these assets, these technological strengths have not translated into broad-based economic growth or opportunity. While this may seem negative, I see it as a tremendous opportunity because it means that government and philanthropic organizations are investing in this region, making this a great time for new business startups, workforce training, and working with our research universities. Remember when I asked you what you like to do? Well, think fast because the opportunities and resources are here and now. You're just going to need to take advantage of them. They're going to be waiting for you. So my last section of this talk is 3 pieces of advice, or several pieces of advice, I should say, that have been shared with me over the years that I have found useful, and I hope you will too. So the first, nothing happens until someone sells something. Let me say that again. Nothing happens until someone sells something. And related to that is everyone is in the business of business development. So it doesn't matter if you are in a for-profit business, a manufacturing business, a nonprofit business like Catalyst Connection, or an educational institution like the University of Pittsburgh, you are always selling. And you can't have business without sales. At Catalyst Connection, we are selling the region to investors. We are selling manufacturing supply chains to large companies. We are selling economic and workforce development opportunities to funders. And of course, we're selling continuous improvement opportunities to manufacturers in our community. Without the revenues associated with these sales, we could not exist. Now, some people think that it's only the owner, the CEO, or the sales team's job to sell. I say definitely not so. CEOs and salespeople can only sell what the team can deliver. Each new sale is only as good as the last shipment that went out, the last project that was completed, or in the case of education, the last student that graduated. So regardless of what business or job you take after graduation, you will be in the business of business development. And the sooner you recognize that, the more successful you will be. So another question for all of you. When was the last time you sold something? My next piece of advice is leaders lead. And related to that is you don't need a title to be a leader. You don't need a title, you need a plan and the ability and willingness to execute on your plan. But remember what I said earlier, happy people go the extra mile for their company and their customers. So if you are leading an organization or a team or even just a project, you need to always be thinking about the members of that team. Are they being treated with respect? Do they feel that their contributions are valued? Do they feel they're being rewarded for their efforts? If your team achieved its results and the members answered yes to those questions, then you demonstrated effective leadership, and that makes you a leader. So when was the last time you demonstrated good leadership skills? Finally, I'd like to share with you that my last piece of advice, I guess, you should know what Industry 4.0 means. Of course, you are students in one of the world's leading Industry 4.0 research and educational institutions. So I could probably have taken this section out of this talk, but it's worth repeating, so I'm going to leave it in. Industry 4.0 refers to the fourth industrial revolution, which many believe is occurring today, which fuses the physical, digital, and biological world, and requires people to make it happen. In manufacturing, it means connecting the software systems with machines and equipment through sensors, software, and technology. It means the use of robotics and automation, the use of 3D printing or additive manufacturing. It also means having a strong culture of continuous improvement, involving employees to solve problems and identifying ways to improve. Industry 4.0 has the potential to truly revolutionize manufacturing and can help to achieve my vision and the vision of many others in our community, which again is to create the world's greatest center for advanced manufacturing. And it definitely needs more people just like all of you. So if Industry 4.0 is the fourth industrial revolution, what are the first three? So I'd like to end by encouraging all of you to build up your soft skills with as much earnest as you are building your technical skills. It starts with good communications, speaking clearly and professionally with correct grammar and limited slang. Employers definitely look for that. Next is your written communication skills, particularly how you write emails and reports. Many of you have summer internships. While you may see yourself as a student, your employer sees you as a colleague. You may find yourself writing emails to the CEO. That's your time to shine. Other soft skills include problem solving, taking initiative, being proactive, getting along well with others, friendly, polite, all those things. Don't be afraid to take on a new assignment. Even if you don't know exactly how to do it, all you really need to know is that first step. Then the rest will follow. And finally, it's okay to expect your employer and your coworkers to be concerned for your happiness and to treat you with respect. If that isn't happening, don't be afraid to speak up. And don't be afraid to lead. Remember, leaders lead. So thank you again for your time and attention. As you can see, I'm very passionate about manufacturing in our community. As I said, I'm the product of an immigrant family, and it's because of manufacturing that I'm able to speak to you here today as the CEO of Catalyst Connection. I urge you to consider opportunities in manufacturing, regardless of your program of study. And I urge you to share those opportunities with your friends and family, particularly those in disadvantaged communities where a manufacturing job can truly be a lifesaver. I wish you all the best of luck. I'm happy to answer any questions, and certainly my contact information, I'm easy to find, catalystconnection.org, LinkedIn, all those kinds of things. Happy to look forward to meeting some of you sometime. Thank you again. Dr. Mena?
Thank you so much, Petra, for taking the time to share your advice and share some of your experience with us. We do have a question in the Q&A for you from one of our students, and it is, what instances of the fourth industrial revolution have you seen within the pandemic?
Well, I think certainly, with the pandemic, like I talked about earlier, companies have had to implement social distancing, various tools and methods to keep everyone safe while meeting production demand. And one of the things we're seeing is a greater adoption of advanced technology, including robotics and automation. So where can we utilize some robotics to perhaps limit the number of people we need in a particular area, and then use those people in other ways to help, with production demand and other ways that they can contribute to the organization.
Thank you.
Great question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. If anybody else has any questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A, and I can read them out loud. In the meantime, Petra, you talked about manufacturing jobs. For somebody who's interested in learning more about manufacturing jobs, or either what they consist of or where to find them, are there any resources or places you suggest we look?
I would suggest, there's we have a website called makingyourfuture.org. So there's a lot of information there about the kinds of jobs that are available. There's also information about companies there, and you can start to research different companies and map them as to where they're located, and learn some things about them, click on their website, those kinds of things. And then there's also another website called connect2team.org. So connect, the number 2, team, TEAM, .org. And they have also identified a full inventory of the kinds of jobs available in manufacturing and where you can go to learn more about those positions. So I would say that those two places are a really good place to start.
Great, thank you. If anybody else has any questions, please go ahead. Oh, I see we do have another question. Could we hear more about the robotics industry? Is it a growing area that would provide opportunities if one were to try to focus on that topic?
Yes, absolutely. So in Pittsburgh, we have what's called the Robotics Network, and it's an association of the robotics companies. There are over 70 members of that network. So you can say there are at least 70 robotics and automation companies in the Pittsburgh area. And again, you can learn more about them, on the Catalyst Connections website, or if you Google the Robotics Network, or just reach out to me and I'd be happy to introduce you to some of those companies. But yeah, we have a very active and growing robotics sector in Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Petra, and thank you for that question. Okay, we only have a couple more minutes for our time with our keynote speaker. So if there are any additional questions, and we do have another one, Petra. If one were to go into the robotic industry, how do you believe is the best way to be prepared for it?
Well, I would say definitely, work on your technical skills and then work on your soft skills. So just like I said earlier, certainly your technical skills are going to be important if you're pursuing an engineering role. Definitely reach out to those companies, try to secure an internship. I know that's been difficult during the pandemic. I understand that a lot of companies have not been able to take on, in-person student interns, but there are project-based learning experiences. And I mentioned that at Catalyst, we're helping to coordinate those with the University of Pittsburgh and, certain companies. So try to get as much hands-on experience as you can to augment your classroom work, and also work on those soft skills, because these companies are looking for people that fit with their culture, that can be part of their team, that can work well with others. And, they're growing companies and they want people that can grow with them.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you to the students who provided these questions, the students or guests who provided these questions. Thank you, Petra, for taking the time to speak with us and also our questions. We really appreciate being here today.
Yeah, thank you again. I hope you all have a great day and good luck in your academic and future careers.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. So at this point, we will move on to presenting Best Paper Awards. And I would like to introduce Beth Newborg, Director of our Writing Program. Beth and her team of writing instructors have been guiding our students through the conference paper writing process. So Beth, I will turn it over to you.
Hey, thank you, Professor Mina. I want to give a moment of recognition to Renee Primus, the Assistant Director of the Engineering Composition Program. Renee is out there. I mean, she's here, just not on video. I know that Janine Carlock just joined as a guest. She's one of our instructors. And again, I want to say thank you to all the composition instructors. You students kept us going this semester, all of us, as we went through this odd semester. And I know I certainly appreciate the energy of the students overall, as well as when I visited your classes and when my colleague Katie Ranklev visited your classes. If that was the only way we could see you, it was great to see you. It was great to field your questions. And through this difficult semester, and as well as the fall semester, students, you've just been amazing. It wasn't easy in about 100 different ways. And you hung in there, you did a terrific job. You did a good job with your teams. Teams were falling apart and then they got themselves together. We were all so impressed. You learned a lot, not just about writing, but about all the soft skills that Petra was talking about. And I think also, as Petra was talking about, you followed your passions, and it showed in the papers that you wrote. It showed in the tone, it showed in the excitement, it showed in the extraordinary amount of information that you got across. I'm going to pull up the prize winners in 1 minute. I just want to say quickly, the best papers were decided by the 412 instructors. and as well as students' grades. So that's kind of was the process of doing that, okay? And with Professor Mina's approval too. So we debated a lot. There were, a lot of really good papers. So if you didn't get a best paper, chances are pretty good your paper was still really, really good, and you should be very, very proud of yourselves. So you feel free if you need to pop a question over in questions and answers, that's fine. I'm going to see if I can share screen. Yeah, I should be able to do that. Okay, and I'm assuming people can see my screen. All right.
We can.
All right, and I want to do window.
Click on presenter view.
There.
That works.
I'm assuming, wait, don't look yet. Okay. All right, I'm hoping everybody can see everything now. I hope you didn't see any previews there. All right, so I'm just gonna go through the best papers. We're gonna start with bioengineering, and there was a tie. We just couldn't, if we would have stayed up all night instead of just part of the night, we could have maybe we could have decided, but I don't think we could have. So for bioengineering, there are two best papers, and it is a tie. The first one is deoxyribonucleic acid-based electrochemical biosensors for lung cancer detection. The authors, Michaela Kim, Sean Matthias, and Juliana Romeo. And I apologize if I pronounced your name wrong. So congratulations for those students for this really terrific paper on a very important subject, and that importance was completely conveyed in the paper. Okay. Okay, second bioengineering paper, tied with the first one, mRNA technology and the efficiency of vaccination development. The authors, Nina Echo, Jessica Neller, and Abigail Ramos. A paper that had, a lot to do with vaccines, with the COVID vaccine. So how these authors put together a paper this extensive on something relatively recent, quite an accomplishment, and a very, very good paper. So congratulations to Team 129. All right, so moving on to ECE, Electrical and Computer Engineering. The best paper for ECE is depth sensing and mapping for autonomous vehicles using stereoscope cameras. The authors for that are Matthew Burnett, Noah Lichstein, and Noah Makovitz. Congratulations to you. We see autonomous vehicles here in our own city all the time. So this is, these writers are, right in the midst of it, making that better, making it so that someday on campus, that's all we'll see probably, or largely what we'll see. I'll still be here then, I'll still be teaching. You'll all be out in the world doing fabulous things. Best industrial engineering paper, 3D printing in Ford manufacturing. The authors for this paper are Brittany Sadej, Pedro Schmidt, and Juliana Oliveira. Okay. Great paper, important information, terrific addressing of IE concerns in perhaps a slightly unconventional way, but really, really significant. So congratulations, Brittany, Pedro, and Juliana. CEE, Civil and Environmental Engineering. Anaerobic digestion as a new source of energy. Okay, wow, this again was something relatively new to me as a reader, I know. Very, very interesting, very important. From the authors Sarah Borger, Sophie Catanzaro, and Riki Wang. So yay to you. fascinating topic. And oops. And for MEMS, Best Mechanical Engineering and Material Science paper, the Hemolung, an alternative to traditional mechanical ventilators. Again, a very thorough paper about a new technology. The authors, did a great job of showing what's new, what's great, what needs to be done. Very timely and very important. These authors are Nicholas Foe, Andre Nien, and Luke Hamilton. So Nicholas, Andre, and Luke, great. And Best Chemical and Petroleum Engineering paper, Microbial Desalination Cells, an Energy Efficient Alternative for Water Desalination. Again, a very complete and well-written paper. All of these papers at every point along the way, as we were reading, we were kind of going like, just, wow, just wow, so much information, so well integrated on topics that were so important. The authors of this paper are Fayen Odeniyi, Bridget Buchanan, and Will Blackledge. So great, thank you to you. Okay, and I think that pretty much does it. So to all the best paper winners, congratulations. This is an enormous accomplishment, and I'll tell you, it's even more enormous because there were so many really good papers. So, the running was, neck and neck a lot. And again, I want to convey to you from our team and from Renee Primus, what a pleasure it's been working with all of you. We're not quite done with you yet because you're going to be submitting your posters, and that kind of thing. But what a pleasure it's been working with you, how you've kept us going through this semester. And as I've said in class more than once, the work that you've done in both of your semesters, in 11 and 7-11 and Engineering 12, and in your writing endeavors in Seminar and Composition 210 and in 0412. You are doing life-changing work. As Petra said, in a way, are you doing anything until you sell anything? We might say, are you doing anything till you communicate anything? And you guys are communicating, and you are communicating again in ways that are going to change people's, absolutely change their lives. That's a phenomenal thing to be engaged in your first year at university. And I'm pretty sure you're all going to keep up with it for the rest of your lives. So thanks for being our students. Have a great rest of the conference. And we'll be looking for your posters. Okay. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, Beth. And again, congratulations to all of the winners. This is a great accomplishment. And congratulations to all of our students, because the process of writing a conference paper is not an easy thing. So congratulations for completing that process, presenting your work, and communicating in all these different ways, right? Through a paper, through a presentation, through a poster. So congratulations to everybody. So at this time, we're going to take a break until our last session for the day, which starts at 3 p.m. Thank you again, all of you, for being here today, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.